Hey everybody, this is For the Love Presents Road Trippin with Jen. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. These are stories from the Awake Tour, straight from the road. I am so excited to share these moments with you. I sat in so many of these rooms and thought, God, I wish everybody could be here. I had these amazing guests, these high-level conversations. So this has been one of my absolute favorite parts of taking Awake around the country is, of course, the people who've shown up. Obviously not just in the audience, but like big shout out to every single one of you who came to a tour stop, but on stage beside me, some of my dearest friends and newest friends said yes, just to hopping in with me, city after city. And so they brought their own heart and humor and brilliance to every single conversation. In Houston, you may remember, I sat down with my brand new friend, Dr. Mary Claire Hafer. Oh my gosh. Every one of us is following her right now. She is as wise and grounded as they come. So obviously we talked about perimenopause, early symptoms, and Dr. Mary Claire's menopause toolkit. That is her life's work. Then in Nashville, I shared the stage with the one and only Heather Land, who is such a multi-hyphenate. I mean, she's a comedian, she is a storyteller, she's a truth teller, and I think most importantly to me, she's just a really good friend. That night, pure joy. Heather reminded me that laughter is absolutely holy too. And humor has a way of breaking us open just enough to let all that light in. I've been so lucky to have these women beside me on the road, and I just wanted you to meet them too. I wanted you to share in some of these amazing nights that you couldn't get to because it wasn't in your town or in your state. So let's start in Houston with Dr. Mary Claire Haver.
We're lucky. I'm really excited about our special guest tonight. This is today, back behind here, was our first time to actually meet. And so this was one of those things where I just threw out an invitation and went, maybe this will be delivered through Beyonce's internet and land on the right day. And Dr. Mary Claire might say yes to this. She's wildly busy. I know because she's wildly busy creating content for all of us for Instagram. That's all I read. If you don't know who she is, let me tell you about her a little bit. She's a board certified OBGYN, of course. She's a best-selling author, and really, she's truly a pioneer. She is one of the leading voices right now, giving women real answers, real solutions, and real hope in perimenopause and menopause and postmenopause and midlife. Truly. I mean, she is a star. We're going to talk about this a little bit, but this season of our life, I know in my mom's generation just was a non-factor. Nobody talked about anything ever. And so it's been sort of shrouded in shame and certainly confusion as women have been trying to sort out what is going on with their bodies and with their health. But she is literally rewriting the story with her colleagues, with this incredible influence that she is stewarding. And she is doing it with honesty, with science. We're still into that, right? Okay. Compassion. She's passionate about women and seeing us thrive in our minds, in our bodies, in our spirits, in our future. And we're just so lucky to have her. So will you guys please just help me welcome Dr. Mary Claire Haver. Thank you for saying yes to this.
For having me. Hi, Houston. It's a big deal.
That's right. That's true. But y'all are kind of cousins.
Yeah.
Your geographical cousins here, for sure. I know you're flying out in the morning, and then you're on a bender, and so it really is special that you are here with us tonight. And I told Dr. Mary Claire that it would be criminal if I did not at least take a few minutes to ask her some questions, because she's like our captive. We have her in our room, you know. I mean, she's going to be a phenomenal interviewer, but I think she's got a little bit more to offer. And so I'd love to just talk a little bit about your work and your trajectory to get there, because we were talking backstage, and would you mind sort of going through that trajectory a little bit again? Because it's not like you set out in your early practice to learn about menopause. I don't even know what you learned in med school about this.
Well, I had about an hour of medical school.
Sure.
Any other physicians or any medical clinicians here? Okay, so if I'm lying, step up. But and then in my residency, so I did OBGYN, and awesome program, UTMB in Galveston. And when I graduated, I felt like I was prepared. I knew everything. Now remember, we had about 6 hours total, and it was part of our reproductive endocrinology block, which we had 6 weeks of that in a 4-year curriculum. We got 1 hour each week.
Jeez.
With Mayel and Kilmer and Dr. Nagamani, I think Dr. Sharon McCloskey's in here somewhere. And they were earnest and told us 6 hours of stuff. We didn't have like clinics where we took care of menopause patients and went through the complexities of their care. And when I walked out, I just really thought it was hot flashes.
Yes.
And your bones would begin to deteriorate. There's nothing we can do about that. There's some, the bisphosphonates were new, so the Fosamax and the meds were kind of new back then. And I didn't know about prevention. I knew that her things would get dry,
Her things. Things get dry.
But I didn't understand. Also, we're urinary tract infections and urinary sepsis and all these things. But what we didn't know were the brain effects, the cardiovascular effects, the musculoskeletal effects. That there are estrogen receptors in our whole body. So I graduate and go to my little practice in Houston. I'm so excited. I'm like, if you're pregnant, I am your girl. I got it. I can deliver a baby upside down, backwards, C-section, blindfolded, with one hand tied behind my neck, However, most of my patients who were not pregnant were coming in complaining of menopause symptoms or libido issues, another menopause issue for many women. And I was literally a deer in the headlights. So I limped along for about 10 years doing my best. And then my menopause started. So my brother was ill. I ran home to do his end of life care. And I had stopped taking birth control pill right at the same time. I was 48. And I never had regular periods before. So not having a period was not like on my radar, like a weird thing. And I was just gaining weight all in the midsection. Same thing my patients were starting to complain of who were my age. And hot flashes, but more than that, I was snapping at my children. I was like snapping at my husband. I was losing my resilience. I was really struggling with that, with the administrative burden at work. I love my patients. I have amazing coworkers at university, but I was just really like finding myself increasingly unhappy. And didn't know how to put it, like, what is this? This isn't me, And really what put my toe in the water in menopause was the weight gain. Like, I had been privileged most of my life and, kind of took that for granted. I could always, run 5 miles and fast for a couple of days and boom, I was back in my jeans, but this was not happening, anymore. Why is this? So where Galveston Diet came from was my quest to figure out what's happening to me and all my friends in menopause. Why are we having these body composition changes? And I was finding articles here and there. So that rabbit hole started with the weight gain, but really it ended up being where we are now. This is every organ system of our body.
That's right.
This is our longevity. This is, and I'm not talking about the wellness bros and living to 120 and hot saunas and plunges. I'm talking about your mom requiring care for the last 10 years of her life, losing her independence, you stopping your job, your life, your dreams to go and deal with her health, his health, your parents. And so where menopause, where we see this inflection, is a lot of us end up on a path where we're gonna lose our independence due to frailty, cardiovascular disease, or some combination, or loss of our brain power, so Alzheimer's or dementia. And I think women deserve better, and this isn't inevitable, right? This doesn't have to be our path. And so my grandmother, dementia and osteoporosis. My mother, Alzheimer's. My grandmother probably had Alzheimer's. They didn't have a name for it back then. And then, so I refuse. Hopefully I can run the gamut and be okay and have a much shorter time than my mom and my grandmother had. But I refuse for this to be my daughter's reality. This is not gonna happen for them. They are gonna live as healthy as possible for as long as possible.
It's so encouraging just to, I of course follow every word you say. I have been doing it. Like I'm your disciple. Thank you for being the leader. I said earlier, before you came out, I'm like, you're practically my doctor. I've been listening to all my paperwork. But it's so encouraging when you say, this is not inevitable. This is not just going to happen to us and just roll down the mountain as it's going to happen, and we'll make the best of it. I'm curious if you could answer this for any women in the room who are feeling a little bit caught off guard with perimenopause. Maybe I hit perimenopause, but right around 48, and you guys, this is a true story. This is how little I knew about perimenopause. This was just 3 years ago. About perimenopause, what to expect. I was losing my capacity, like you were saying, my resilience. I just couldn't handle, and I'm big capacity. I can handle a zillion moving parts all the time. Everything felt so overwhelming to me. Like, am I gonna have to quit my job? I just can't handle all this anymore. And then I was like, where is my period? And I was a regular gal. And so what I did is take a pregnancy test. That's dusty, dry. I took 2.
Pregnancy test.
Thank you. I took 2.
I should invest in pregnancy tests.
Yes, that's not right.
It has taken 1, right?
No.
You have to take a second.
I certainly did.
Right.
I got a cheap one at the dollar store because I'm like, if I'm a 48-year-old pregnant girl, well, God, let's just get off on the wrong foot here. But anybody who's like, I'm a little, either not, I wasn't ready, I'm not prepared, I'm starting to experience even cognitive symptoms, like you said.
What we know now is it's well before the periods become irregular, we start seeing the brain changes. So perimenopause and menopause. So if you don't follow me, here we go. We start out with like 1 to 2 million eggs at birth. And we are at a set supply, and that's gonna last you until they all run out. And that's menopause, when they're gone. And so in that process of you're ovulating, you're losing some of this process called atresia, where they're just kind of dying off, the unhealthiest eggs die off first. And so you kind of reach this threshold where the signals coming from the brain that make you ovulate are having to work harder and harder to get the ovulation to happen. And so your brain doesn't like the chaos. So the hormone levels, which used to look like a predictable EKG, a rise and flow every month, now become very, very chaotic for 7 to 10 years. And so it's really the brain. So brain fog, word salad, where's my keys? Where was I going? What's that word? That guy in the movie, and he's like got blonde hair, but he was with that other co-star.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, right hit. And so 3 days later.
Sure. Yeah. 3 days later, exactly.
So that typically is one of the first symptoms is something's not right. And then the mental health stuff. So we see about a 40% increase in depression and anxiety across the perimenopause transition.
It's from
either worsening, where it was well controlled before, you're on your meds, you're doing great, and then boom, suddenly your Prozac, your Zoloft, whatever is not working, or you have a new onset.
Yep.
And so what we know now is, not in postmenopause, but in perimenopause, the best treatment is to stabilize her hormones with hormones, treat the root cause, and then if she needs a SSRI or something on top of that, an antidepressant, then go ahead and do that. So that's going to be the best thing for her brain.
Let me just ask you one more question. So for those of us steering into those waters, and of course, you are now looking at the long game. This is not just how to get through these 7 years.
Right.
This is now until forever, all of our days on this earth. So if you were to say, more or less, and I know there's not a one size fits all, but there are some absolute best practices for longevity, for bone health, for brain, all of it. Would you sort of lay that out for us? This is what it looks like to build a good second half physically.
So glad you asked. My book, The New Menopause. So we call it the Menopause Toolkit. And it looks like the longevity toolkit. It looks like the cardiovascular toolkit, because all of these habits actually work to keep most of your moving parts healthy. So I always like to start with nutrition. So looking at nutrition not as just fuel, and so we're looking at calories are important, I can't negate that, but the quality of your nutrition. So heavy plants, lots and lots of plants, leafy greens, fruits, nuts, seeds, legumes, with protein, making sure you're getting adequate protein. So, and if you're gonna do meat for your protein, lean meats, some, red meat in moderation, lots of fish, chicken, Mediterranean kind of stuff. So, and then really trying to limit your processed foods and carbohydrates as much as possible. So the convenience foods, typically. Then we look at sleep. Sleep really is the pillar of health, and the girls aren't sleeping. So, and sleep is multifactorial. So definitely if you're having hot flashes, waking up at 3 a.m, I'm so good at fixing that. Like, come see me, I got you, However, I'm on HRT and I'm well controlled. I do not have hot flashes anymore, but I still struggle. If I don't protect my sleep with my life, with sleep hygiene, I take magnesium, I take an anti-anxiety, L-theanate for some racing thoughts at night, at night. And so, and my progesterone for me is really, really helpful helping me not only go to sleep, but stay asleep and having good quality sleep. So I've invested, now you can have wearables or nearables. So if you have the mattress that checks your, those are kind of expensive. And the wearables can be kind of expensive, but most people are wearing smartwatches. This can do it too, but you don't have to be obsessive about it. Look at the quality of your sleep. These apps and things are available, and seeing, if you're waking up at 3 a.m, is this sleep apnea? We are terrible at diagnosing sleep apnea in women. So really making sure you're sleeping, and then movement. So I love walking. Walking's amazing. I love weight vest if you follow me. So I supersize my walks. But strength training is really going to be non-negotiable. If your goal is to maintain your bone and muscle strength so that you can have, that muscle is your glucose goddess. The real glucose goddess is muscle. Okay, not that blonde lady in England, but so she's awesome. But this is where most of our glucose goes, is into the muscles. So doing something with your muscles every day, like lifting, learning how to lift safely, learning how to lift heavy, or doing it in a safe way. If you have arthritis or whatever, then all that can be worked with personal trainers or physical therapists. And then stress reduction. So learning to put up those boundaries, learning to say no. But menopause is really magical. You're saying no now.
Right.
Nope. Not doing it. Nope. Nope.
I'm coming to the cutting edge.
So there's such one of the good things about menopause, I think, is I can protect myself a lot better than I used to. And then connection, community. So when you look at studies in the gerontologists, when they talk about their patients who are doing the best, it isn't red light, it isn't cold plunges, it isn't, it is community, connection, using your brain. So they're doing puzzles, they're doing Sudoku, they're reading, they're writing, they're teaching, they're still taking classes in their 80s and 90s. Those are the people that thrive. So those are really, and of course pharmacology, that's going to be a part of it for a lot of us for different things as needed. But really those core lifestyle, really prioritizing yourself, keeping your peace, eating good nutrition, moving your body, and really making yourself a priority.
That's it.
All right, how great is Dr. Mary Claire? every time she speaks, I feel like I exhale. I got off that stage with her and immediately texted my best friends some of the things that I heard her say. Next up, we're heading to Nashville, my beloved Tennessee stop, where Heather Land joined me for an evening that was equal parts comedy set, revival, and group therapy. You'll see what I mean. Take a listen. I have a friend who lives here, and I love her. You love her. It has been such a joy to become her friend over the last, I feel like maybe it's 7 years. 7 years? That's about right. We have toured together. We have traveled together. We have cut up together. And she is not just hilarious, which is what she's initially known for. She is wise. She's good. She is loyal. She is funny. She is smart and interesting. And I could not think of a better person to have this conversation with tonight than my good friend, Heather Land. Come on up, girl.
Hi.
And she's pretty.
Stop.
She's pretty.
Y'all, I shaved and everything for this. My face down to my big toe. Don't ask questions. Don't ask questions.
I will tell you right now, you are the person who taught me about face shaving. I was at your house.
You're welcome.
I was sitting at your dining
You're
room
welcome.
table, and you were like, do you know about shaving your face? I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah.
What is happening right
Yeah.
now? And you went back into your bathroom, and you brought out your little dermoplaner or whatever
That's
you want
right.
to say it is, which I
Whatever.
own now.
Good for you.
Does anybody else do that?
You can also use your husband's Mach 3 in the shower.
Yeah. Sorry, Steven.
Sorry, babe.
Thank you for taking care of my face hair.
You're so welcome.
That's
I got
what
you,
friends
girl.
do.
I got
That is
you.
what friends do.
I got you.
Heather's going to ask me a few questions. We're going to talk about awake. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions first, and thank you for saying that you would answer those. A lot of people's first touch with you, the way they came to know you was because you're so damn funny. And you're a comedian, and you have all this hilarious content that you put on the internet. You're good at funny. You're really good at it. And funny is hard.
Thank you.
Funny is hard. That's not for dum-dums. Funny is really, really hard. I know about your life, and I wonder if you chose humor because, frankly, you had to.
100%.
I wonder if you could just talk for a minute about your life and how in the world that sent you spinning into the world of laughter.
Well, first of all, some genius a long time ago, probably one of our soul sisters, wisely said, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And she was right. So I was raised in church. My dad was a deacon, and my mom was an addict, and that was hard. And I'm working on some jokes for that right now, but they're still in progress.
Sure.
Yeah. There's a lot there. I'm unprepared tonight. I'm sorry. So she was an addict for about 40 years, addicted to pills. I've got every story you can think of. She's been arrested, lost jobs, all the things. I jumped right out of that into Bible college. I always wanted to be a worship leader, and married the first youth pastor I ran into.
Sure, same.
You know,
Same.
it's fun. It's fun. I wasn't even really crazy about him, but don't tell him that, because that's just mean. But I think subconsciously wanted to get out of my situation that I was in at home. So I just said yes, and started what would become a 14-and-a-half-year absolutely miserable marriage. Just toxic in every possible way. And had 2 great kids along the way, but was really scared to leave because, I just wanted to be a good girl and please the Lord. And I was petrified of everybody in the church. I mean, I was, in ministry at the time. And so I stayed until I just, I was either going to have to be put in a padded room or I was going to have to leave. So I left and took my kids and kind of started the journey of rebuilding my life. Quit leading worship at that time. It's really hard to lead worship when you just cry through every song. It's not a good look. It's really hard. So it just can't. I'm like, it's about me, y'all. I'm struggling. And I don't know if you've ever been to church where the worship leader airs his dirty laundry through his prophetic singing. I was like, I can't be that. I can't do that here. I don't want to do that. So I just kind of worked a big girl job for a little while, and I ain't doing it, which if you've ever seen a video, I'm so sorry. God, I'm so sorry. It kind of fell in my lap, and I made one stupid video. You make one dumb video, and it went viral, and everybody thought I was a comedian, and I'm like, rude, I'm a worship leader. Get it right. I love Jesus, not jokes. And so, but here we are, and I just kind of was like, okay, God, so not what I had on the radar, but here we go. And I was like, yeah, I've gone through enough. I can make some jokes about this, because once again, if you don't, what are you going to just like curl up in the fetal position? Did that too. It didn't really fare very well for me, so I was like, let's make some jokes about it. So here we are, and still continuing to kind of weed through, lots of trauma, lots of therapy. But I met just the greatest human being. I met my husband on the road. He was my he's pointing at himself, guys. He's really shy. He's right back there. He's that brown guy against the wall. He's Indian, for those of you wondering. Tech support, not casino. Tech support Indian.
Bless.
You can say that when you're married to one. So got married and kind of still weeding, in the weeds with dealing with past trauma. I've got a daughter who's now in the same rehab that my mom went to, but is doing amazingly well and just kicking butt, and really proud of her. And so, Still making jokes. Going to be making some jokes about her soon too. So nothing's off. Nothing's off the radar.
No. Yeah. That's it. I read in a parenting book one time that kids are material for us, and I think that's a good way to parent.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Everything goes right about that. There's no downside.
Nope.
I want to talk quickly about 2 ways that I have watched you evolve in the last stretch of time. The first one is that, yes, you came out swinging with humor. You're naturally funny. It's kind of in your bones. It's in your blood. You immediately know how to be funny, how to connect with people. But over the last handful of years, you have started like pulling back the curtain on your real life, on your story, on your life, on what is hard. And I'm curious, I'd love to hear how that has shaped your community, how it has shaped you as a storyteller, as a communicator, as someone for whom a lot of people come into your environment to hear what you have to say. Moving from funny girl to truth teller, what has that been like for you? And what do you think it's built into your community?
Wow, that's a deep question. I think what it's done for me is it's given me freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, I think being raised in the church, and I'm not here to crap on the church. I love God and I love the church, and I don't care if you do or don't. Honestly, I'm not here for that. But my personal story is I've watched so much that was supposed to be pure and honest not be, and I think after being around my own girlfriends and my own community online, I have come to realize people just want honesty. People relate to your honest story. What good is just, a bunch of fluff and bull crap? I'm not here for it. So for me, it's like breathing. If I can't it's almost like a tick. Like I'm that girl that's like, oh, I love your shirt. I'm like, thank you. I got it for 50 cents at Goodwill. I can't not say it. It's like I have to say the honest thing and the whole truth. And there's freedom in it. And honestly, Jen, I mean, we're going to get into it in a minute, but your book has even given me another level of that, of just wanting to say, yeah, screw it. I'm going to throw it to the wall. And if people don't like it, that's okay. That's on them. But I want to keep being honest. I think it's the only way to be.
I love that, and I'll just tell you as a regular person who's just your friend, that has never one time pushed me away from you. That draws me to you, and I find that what that tells me is that you are a safe person for me. That's what that signals. That when you are willing to be like that, to be truthful in front of me, I don't feel like I need to hide from you. And so I thank you for being like that in my life as my friend. The last thing I want to ask you is another way that is so fun to watch you expand right now because, and I remember when you first told me this a couple years ago and you were like, I really want to do more than comedy. I have deeper waters that I want to explore. And you have this, your life is so complex and rich and full, and the experiences that you have brought this far are useful, and you want to use them. And so can you talk a little bit about making a career transition, which, I'm a big fan of. How old are you?
Only a mere 49.
Yeah, 49. Yeah. And I'm 51, and I am super fascinated and inspired by and energized by women at our age, right here in the middle of life, making huge pivots. I find it courageous and exciting, and you're doing it.
Thank you. Wow, I don't feel courageous, but
you are.
Thank you. I have an answer. I have a public buttoned-up answer for this, but it's not fun, and it's not as authentic as the real one. So I'm going to give you the real one. The reason that I've always wanted to influence women, and this was before I even had a phone. Okay, so I didn't know it was going to be on Instagram or whatever. Sure. Who knew? But I always wanted to share my story in hopes that it would help somebody. Yeah. It's real simple. But I've recently, I guess a couple of years ago, pivoted into some life coaching, which, by the way, requires zero schooling. Big fan. Big fan. You do not have to have your life together, clearly, to be a life coach. Right. You could just write life coach in your bio, and you're a life coach. It's really great. And start charging whatever you want. It's simple. But the truth is, the reason why I pivoted is I think more out of desperation and quite a bit of sadness. I think I hit this place in my career where I kind of went from 1,000 to I don't know, maybe in the hundreds. Came out swinging, and then things were kind of taking a lull, and my kids left home. Nobody taught me how to deal with that. Right. My body changed. I haven't had a period in 167 days until today, and I hate life. And so I'm just saying.
I hate it here.
My husband's giving the thumbs down. Yeah. He knows. So I was in this really weird funk. Yeah. And I was like, I got to do something that brings me some life. And I think sometimes desperation, however you got to get there. But I'm a firm believer that, no longer will I ever ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm like, oh my gosh, we're reinventing ourselves every other year. 100%. And we just roll with the punches, and whatever it is we're supposed to walk into next. And I'm going to keep living that way. Whatever the next thing is, I'm going to say yes. So, yeah.
I just can't tell you what it has meant to have friends like this on the road. Really, these women who show up and shine their very specific light. And for me, made this journey feel like a community instead of just a tour. Every single stop had its own magic, but it is, of course, the people who make everything unforgettable. So to Dr. Mary Claire Haver, to Heather Land, to all of you, every single one of you who came out to laugh and cry and hug and wake up a little more to your own lives. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, we've got more Road Trippin' episodes ahead, more friends, more stories, more moments from this wild, beautiful ride. Until next time, thanks for road tripping with me.